The following podcast contains opinion and commentary protected by the First Amendment and fair use. It may also contain adult themes, adult concepts, and adult language not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
He struts in silk ties and courtroom deceit, with a grin that don't blink when he lies through his teeth. Once played the lawyer, now plays the fool. Got a taste for danger and bends every rule. He took Laura's hand, said, "I'll make you a queen." But they danced through indictments behind the legal machine. A felon's affection, a scandalous vow, their headlines in motion. Just look at them now. Oh, Daddy, you taught me to twist and deny, to smile while the truth just passes me by. I learned from the best, your ethics are foul. I'm a real criminal now. His license got clipped, just a slap on the wrist. He's kissed more subpoenas than lips he's missed. He cries free speech while the courtroom burns, but justice keeps count and karma returns. You said, "Don't worry, sweetheart, they never catch up." Now I sip lies like gin from a tarnished cup. Twist and deny, to laugh while the innocent wave us goodbye. You made me your mirror, ain't you so proud? Look at me, Daddy, I'm a real criminal now.
Welcome, everyone, back to your favorite cubbyhole on the internet. And we are back after a little hiatus dealing with allergy colds and things that don't have germs, but make you feel just as awful. And you don't get time off for sick leave because, well, you're not contagious and you don't have a fever. Yes, nearly 2 weeks. Oh, it's been awful, but the voices come back. Mostly, we're doing much better. I can actually breathe. We're grateful because we have to get caught up. Oh, my God. We'll get to the breaking news in a second. News that broke earlier this Sunday, which only happened earlier this week. So it's very breaking news. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, the exciting news, for which we all want a round of applause. That being the epic court battle of the century in San Francisco. Mike Marraccini is being represented in the court battle of the century in San Francisco by none other than the amazing tilted lawyer Omar Serato. Yes, that's right. And of course, if you didn't already know, Crazy Lady is being represented by none other than DUI David Dingus, the douche canoe.
The fucking douche canoe.
Yes, indeed. How that's going to work, we're not sure, because he sent in an affidavit, a statement. We covered this in a previous video, looking at the 3-part video, for heaven's sake, where David Dingus made his own statements and claimed to be somewhat of a witness. So how that's possible to work when there are court rules that say, well, you can't be both the attorney and the witness, I'm sure is going to be sussed out by the amazing Omar in court. And who better to represent Mike than someone who's actually familiar with this case? Omar. It's amazing. It's brilliant. And while we're talking about things to support, don't forget, folks, we are darn close. Mike Marraccini's GoFundMe is getting darn close. We're at $21,417 as of 6:21 West Coast Standard Time, Sunday, August 17. Damn close to the goal. I would love to help Mike get pushed over his goal limits, if that's even set for that. We want him to get every penny he deserves, and boy, does he deserve it more than anybody at this moment in time. And we're a gracious bunch, and we certainly support him in this endeavor to put her in her place where she rightfully deserves after all these years. So don't forget, there's still room to raise some funds for Mike and his legal defense fund going to the amazing Omar. I can't think of a better person to even... How could you go wrong? I mean, really, I'm just being honest here. Omar's amazing. I'm always impressed with him, watching him. It would be fun to meet him and chat with him too, as well as all the other amazing people who talk about the story. But gee whiz, this is going to be epic, and it's going to be a 2-day event. Omar motioned the court for a 2-day trial. That has been granted. And guess what, folks? Laura has nowhere to hide. David Dingus was denied his objections of making it such a long trial for just a restraining order. But guess what's going to come up, folks? Guess what's going to come up? Squee. Oh, the chickens, the Owens chickens, or maybe I should say the Owens vultures. It is Arizona after all, are finally coming home to roost, aren't they? Oh my goodness gracious. It's just amazing. It's so exciting. It deserves one of these. I just can't handle myself. Well, for multiple reasons, one of which being it's nice to be back on a microphone and not sound like some sort of creaky floor. Oh, it's great. We love it. Oh, we love the recovery process when it comes to germs. Well, not germs, just allergies. Ugh. Sometimes I think it somehow turns into germs. You know, the body reacts. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just, things happen, you know, the body reacts and we're just like, oh, yeah. Anyhow, enough about me. Good God. I should be over it by now, but I'm still getting over it. You know, the sniffles are still around, but... Okay, and now to the breaking news. The breaking news of the week and certainly the weekend. And that's definitely worthy of pushing the breaking news button. Breaking news from the cubbyhole here today, as it has been breaking in other YouTubers' channels. The amazing Laura Owens has already touched on this, and she'll be back for more detailed analysis. I'm sure she's going to round the financial troops to cover this nonsense, known as the Bankruptcy Chapter 13 plan for Elizabeth Ann Naylor and Ronald Stephen Owens. You know, it's interesting that it's Ron Stephen Owens with one N, but he goes by Ron with 2 N's. I'm confused now. Anyhow, there we go. Yes, you know, we'll skim through this just a little bit because some of the numbers are absolutely riveting. And, we need to talk about GoFundMes. Other than Mike's, we'll talk about certain things about these GoFundMes because, well, Chapter 13 filings sort of reveals some things about financial standings. If they are filing in good faith and they are being honest and transparent, which court documents require them to be. I'm a little dubious about that, but we'll see. So we have here the documents from the court. Let's make it big and biggin, because we've learned how to do that a little bit now. There we go. It's big for you, it's huge for me, and it's really quite obnoxious. But that's all right. The United States Bankruptcy Court District of Arizona Chapter 13 plan, the original payment including post-petition mortgage payments and hourly fee administrative expenses for Elizabeth Ann Naylor and Ronald Stephen Owens, debtors. The plan includes the following: that there's an avoidance of a judicial lien or non-possessory, non-purchase money security interest. See section C5. I'm not going to get too detailed on this because, quite frankly, a lot of this is over my head. I'm not going to read it all other than to say they filed for Chapter 13, and it's very interesting. It's interesting to me. There's lots of stuff in here that they could check. They've got, under some other things, they've got none checked for certain things. It's as boring as it can be. They've got a file fee application. Oh, my goodness. The estimated amount of fees to be paid by the trustee, subject to court orders, $8,000, of which $2,100 was paid before the filing of the case. So there's already money on the line. Pursuant to Code 1322B, the debtor assumes or rejects the following lease or unexpired executory contract. They have under 3 leases and unexpired executory contracts that there are none that apply. They have no other things listed under that section. Further down, there's not much going on other than we have current defaults of maintenance of payments. Of course, we know that Ron Owens has defaulted to Chase Bank for the tune of $50-some-odd thousand and change. We have various things, including the listing of properties for which Maricopa County, as well as Sarah and Christian Navarro, are on the title. And they have currently listed monthly payments in the $12,000 range, estimated arrearage amounts over $74,000. I'll bet that number is ever increasing. Were they trying to make mortgage payments with a credit card, one wonders? Oh, let's see. They've got claims secured by personal property, combination of real and personal property. They have none checked. Other unmodified secured claims, they have none checked. I wonder. Again, I know Laura Knight is going to probably bring some much smarter people than I am about all this to untie the financial knots. That'll be very exciting. I'll be in the chat as long as I catch it and I'm on there. Oh, so much. We have further information regarding judicial liens or security interests. I wonder what Senlar is. We've got some stuff that's redacted, but we have daughter and son-in-law, Christian and Sarah Navarro, listed twice. Further things go on. They also have lots of none checked under unsecured claims other than debtor attorney's fees. There's various vesting, tax returns, funding shortfalls, non-standard provisions that aren't talked about. But the next part, this is very interesting. We'll get rid of the search box. Our numbers. We like numbers because numbers do mean things. And if one doesn't use proper numbers, like HCG tests, that can be considered fraud. Yeah. And it may be that other people might be facing some potential fraud charges or, shall we say, charges for being an accomplice. That's why at the end of this, I'm going to play the Accomplice Stage Mom song. It's fairly new. I released it quietly while I was coughing and sneezing and blowing the poor schnoz with all my problems. Yeah, a couple things trickled out here and there that I was sitting on because, well, I want to keep some momentum going even if I'm not feeling good and I can't talk. So you enjoyed that. We'll include it at the end of this coverage today. Let's take a look at these numbers. The trustee's compensation, which is 10%, $93,600. Woo, to be a trustee. Making some money. They are claiming conduit mortgage payments in the amount of $759,133,020. $750,000, folks. Other claims secured solely by real property, $74,765.11. We've got some other things, unsecured non-claims, $501. That's curious. Total of the plan payments to trustee, $936,000. Further down is some more number things, which don't make a whole lot of sense to me, but they probably do to some others. Some various unsecured claims. Now, the further section, the monthly disposable income is listed as 0. Isn't that interesting? The applicable comment period is 60. Is that 60 days or 60 weeks or what? Estimated payment to unsecured non-priority creditors under plan is $501. Curiouser and curiouser. And you'll notice this is dated August 14th, everybody. Very recent. Very recent. But do you see a GoFundMe listed in here? I don't see a GoFundMe listed in here. The tune of almost, $150,000 to quote-unquote Ron Owens medical expenses, which they aren't claimed on this piece of paper. But we do have more documents, so let's get to the other documents, shall we? The next document, the voluntary petition for individuals filing for bankruptcy. We have their names. We also have their alias, Jan Black. Oh, whoops. I'm scrolling past it. We'll make this in big and too. There it is, Jan Black, the alias. Why do we have an alias? That will come out one day, I feel. That will come out. We don't care about their address or social security. That's irrelevant stuff. Oh, let's see. They've lived in the location for more than 180 days before filing. Yes, that's true in many states, I've discovered. When we talked about the Jen Camp case, the woman who made defamatory claims against a podcaster in the Mormon, post-Mormon, ex-Mormon space, and she moved and filed for bankruptcy in Washington state to try and escape all of the judgments against her to the tune of over $1 million. These numbers are sounding familiar. Amount of time you have to live in a place before you can file bankruptcy, and so on and so forth. We have the chapter type for the bankruptcy case. We have, I will pay the entire fee when I file my petition. How will you pay for your fees filing this if you don't have money? And they claim they have not filed for bankruptcy within the last 8 years. Are there any other bankruptcy cases filed by a spouse who is not filing this case with you, or a business partner, or by affiliate? No. I would suspect Laura will not be filing bankruptcy, since really, I think when you get down to brass tacks, Laura is still considered a dependent of Ronn and Mama Owens. They certainly quote unquote shared income, the $200,000 allegedly they made in the podcast. But I think in terms of real finances, that Laura is a dependent, and that's why she lives out in the casita, probably rent free. We don't know. I suspect so because, well, I suspect she comes in for dinner at night, which makes her more than just a tenant. And she is related, so there you go. Let's see, do you rent your residence? No, they don't. Well, if Laura's paying rent, they would have to click something different than that, I think. That's just a hunch. And there's other stuff. They're not filing under Chapter 11. Do you have any property that possesses or is alleged to pose a threat of imminent or identifiable hazard to public health or safety, etc.? I would think horse poop. And E. coli could be a hazard to public health, but that's just my opinion. Groundwater contamination. Having lots of horses in places where horses and livestock and so on and so forth do their business, unless they've got groundwater treatment, which I highly doubt, that can cause some health concerns to the water table. I would be curious to know about some of those things about their horse operation and what they're required to have and what they don't and probably should. But never mind, I digress. We have various things about in this document explaining efforts to receive a briefing about credit counseling, which they have done so, apparently. Interesting. We have in part 6 the question of what kind of debts do you have? And the question of 16a is, are your debts primarily consumer debts? And it says yes. Yes is checked, and then it says go down to line 17, which says, are you filing under Chapter 7? Which is no, because they have already filled out that they're filing under Chapter 13. Do you estimate that after any exempt property is excluded? They have nothing checked in the next question there. So let's go down to how many creditors they estimate they have. Question 19, they have how much do you estimate your assets to be worth? And they have selected between $1,001 and $10 million for their assets. They have for question 20, how much do you estimate your liabilities to be? And they have the exact same number as their assets, between $1,001 and $10 million. So if they paid everyone else, they would be broke? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know how those numbers work, but it would seem if you have certain assets and then you have the same amount in certain liabilities, you should be able to pay things off, right? You may have to sell some things off, change your lifestyle. But, I'm not sure how that works in the money. And, of course, it's signed below and dated August 14 of 25. That's the end of this document. Let's look at the next document. So we have the Declaration of Evidence of Employers' Payments within 60 days, and both Elizabeth Ann Naylor and Ronald Stephen Owens have selected that neither of them. The debtor has received no payment advances, pay stubs, or other evidence of payment from any employer within 60 days prior to the filing of the petition. That is also dated August 14 of 2025 and signed accordingly. The next document up for bid is just the notice and previous bankruptcy filings and other information. We'll skip that one, shall we? Let's go to the next one. The notice of Chapter 13. So we have the notice of Chapter 13 bankruptcy case, in which all of the basic information by the Owens family and their representative legal representation. The debtor's attorney, Mark R. Atchley, as well as the bankruptcy trustee, Edward J. Manny. So this is just informative for who is listed in the case for representation and for the court. There's also dates and meeting of creditors and deadlines and so on and so forth. There's not much of interest in this one, so let's continue to the next document. The declaration of the petitioner, Elizabeth Ann Naylor and Ronald Stephen Owens, a.k.a. Jan Black and Ron Owens. Do hereby declare under penalty of perjury, etc., 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 etc. It's signed and dated by them using the same font, which is very boring, as well as signed by their attorney, their debt attorney, with the same font as the rest of them, which is very boring. And that is dated August 7th. So this has been in the works for a little bit, folks. And of course, that's not a surprise. There was no response to the Chase Bank claim. This was coming. I think most of us saw that it was coming and it was going to come rather quickly. There it is. There's your stuff. There's the latest Laura Owens gossip. No, it's not gossip. It can't be gossip when it's factual and it's true, and we've got the court documents to back it up, which we like to do. That's how we like to operate here. We don't like to totally operate on speculation other than when we're just sort of trying to work some things out. But yes, there you go. This will be a short one since I just don't feel like droning on forever, and I don't think my voice is up for an hour-long marathon to dig into other things I'm thinking about. Yes, we'll talk about more stuff as it comes out, and as we get more into all of these cases. Oh my God. We've got a criminal case for Laura. We've got a contested DVRO case for Laura. We've got a Chapter 13 case for Mom and Dad. I wonder if there might be some other fraud stuff. We wonder and we watch and we wait and we'll see where it goes. All right, so enjoy the rest of your weekend, what's left of it by the time I get this posted. Enjoy your Monday. I hope it's good for you. I'll still keep going in recovery mode, and as things happen, I'm going to try and catch on it, and we'll see what else we can do. I want to look into a particular piece of Laura Owens' paternity fraud that happened in a municipality I'm somewhat acquainted with, and that's the whole nonsense with Chase J. Jones. So I'm going to reach out to some people, and I want to do a little sleuthing on the ground because I think I may have some information about that, or at least I may have a way to get some information about that, and it would be very interesting to tie that one off just a little bit more with a bow. I know Dave Neal already figured out that Laura was Chase J. Jones, and all of that stuff being entered from a Seattle, Washington post office box was probably fraudulent. But we want to get to the bottom of some of that because, well, we may have some leads. We'll see. I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but, you know, we're willing to do a little footwork where necessary, especially when it's not too far from our backyard. Oh my gosh, I'm leaving more breadcrumbs for my future doxers. I shouldn't do that. All right, folks, until next time, catch you on the next one.
In the wings of life's grand theater, where the spotlight burns so bright, Laura Owens takes the center, weaving tales into the night. From a casita's whispered secrets to a courtroom's fevered play, her stories twist and turn, but someone's guiding her astray. Shapes the drama's destiny. With a whisper, with a nod, she's the hand behind the scheme. In the stage mom's shadow, truth gets lost in Laura's dream. Jan Black sways in silence with a smile that masks the cost, crafting emails, dodging debts in a world where truth is lost. With candy for the cops she greets, a sweet disguise for pain, yet she fuels in this shadow sly refrain. From a podcast glowing spotlight to a lawsuit's bitter sting, she's the echo in the background, tying knots to every string. Is she puppet or the master in this dance of veiled deceit? Her shadow falls on Laura's stage, where lies and dreams compete. In the city by the bay, a restraining orders call. Laura spun her tale of woe, while Jan stood proud and tall. Through the years the scripts keep changing, yet the shadow never fades. A mother's love or something more in this masquerade of spades. Oh, the stage mom's shadow, pulling strings we'll never see. In the haze of mystery, she shapes the drama's destiny. With a whisper, with a nod, she's the hand behind the scheme. In the stage mom's shadow, truth gets lost in Laura's dream. When the final curtain falls and the lights begin to dim, will the shadow tell her story or stay silent, cold and grim? In the theater of their making, where the lines of truth are blurred, the stage mom's shadow lingers with a secret name.